A powerful storm has slammed into Vietnam. Typhoon Kalmaegi, internationally known as Typhoon number 13, hit the south-central coast on the evening of November 6, 2025, bringing violent winds and heavy rainfall. Across several provinces, emergency teams were activated fast. Weather experts warned that Kalmaegi raced across the East Sea with intense strength and a massive wind field, the kind that spreads dangerous rain far and wide. By around 7 p.m., the storm made landfall over the provinces of Gia Lai and Dak Lak, packing wind speeds around 150 kilometers per hour and even stronger gusts. Roofs were torn from homes. Trees couldn't withstand the force and crashed down to the ground. Footage from the storm zone shows the terrifying power of the wind, trees bending and snapping in the same direction the storm was pushing them. Glass shattered. Homes were damaged. Streets flooded quickly as the rain continued to pour. Roadside trees uprooted. Large signs and billboards ripped apart. Even utility poles were knocked over, leaving debris scattered everywhere. Local officials report that the coastal region started feeling the storm's heavy rain and strong winds earlier in the afternoon. Fishing boats rushed back to port. Authorities ordered evacuations in low-lying neighborhoods and areas at serious risk of landslides. Typhoon Kalmaegi arrived with full force, leaving Vietnam to face the aftermath of a devastating natural disaster. The National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting has issued a serious warning. Heavy rainfall is expected across central Vietnam, from Quang Tri to Con Hoa. In just 24 hours after landfall, rainfall could reach 150 to 400 millimeters, and in some areas even over 600 millimeters. The risks are high: major flooding in cities, landslides in the mountains, and significant damage to infrastructure. Provinces like Quang Nai, Gia Lai, Dak Lak, and Con Hoa are now under close watch. In response, border guards, traffic police, local soldiers, and volunteers have been mobilized for emergency operations. Authorities have ordered mass evacuations. Tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of residents move to safer areas before the storm hits. Airports, seaports, and major highways along the coast have been shut down to ensure safety. The government has issued top-level alerts, urging everyone to focus on protecting human lives above all else. Experts warn that high tides and massive waves are worsening coastal erosion and pushing seawater deep into river mouths. In coastal cities, drainage systems are failing to keep up, causing severe flooding. Meanwhile, mountainous regions face a dangerous mix of flash floods and landslides, especially in areas where forests have been cleared. Local governments have suspended all outdoor events and tourism activities, and factories have been ordered to double-check safety protocols. Fishing boats have been banned from setting sail until the storm passes. By the afternoon of November 6th, rescue teams were already on standby, boats, helicopters, and emergency vehicles positioned strategically along the coast. Hospitals have been told to prepare for incoming emergencies, ensuring they have enough medicine, blood, and fuel to handle what's coming. This is a critical moment for Vietnam, as authorities race to minimize damage and save as many lives as possible before the full force of the storm arrives. Nursing homes and quarantine centers were given extra protection to safeguard vulnerable groups. Government radio, TV, and social media channels stayed active around the clock, sharing real-time safety updates. As Typhoon Kalmaegi moved quickly inland, many provinces grew concerned about traffic blockages that could delay rescue teams and food deliveries to isolated communities. The National Steering Committee for Disaster Prevention instructed all regions to keep main roads clear, repair landslides immediately, and maintain emergency supplies. Across the country, local organizations and businesses stepped up, sending aid, food, and other essentials to families hit hardest by the storm. At this point, Vietnam's damage reports are still coming in. Local officials emphasized that saving lives remains the #1 priority, while minimizing property losses and preparing for recovery efforts. Through the night of November 6th, as Kalmaegi swept inland, every available resource was deployed to restore electricity, reopen vital roads, and keep people safe. Authorities are urging everyone to stay indoors, follow evacuation orders, and trust only official news updates. Before reaching Vietnam, Typhoon Kalmaegi had already torn through the Philippines, leaving behind a trail of destruction. The impact was so severe that President Ferdinand Marcos declared a nationwide state of emergency. On November 6th, the president made the announcement after the storm devastated central regions, claiming the lives of at least 140 people and leaving more than 100 others missing. According to the Office of Civil Defense, most of the victims were swept away by sudden flash floods, making this the deadliest natural disaster the Philippines has faced this year. In Cebu province, the situation turned tragic as massive flooding swallowed thousands of homes. People were forced to climb onto rooftops just to survive as the waters kept rising. Reports say Cebu alone lost at least 71 lives, with dozens still missing and many more injured. In nearby Negros Occidental, dozens more are unaccounted for. Across the Philippines, nearly 2 million people have been affected by this disaster. Over 500,000 were forced to evacuate, with more than 450,000 now living in temporary shelters. President Marcos declared a state of emergency to speed up the release of relief funds and to prevent food hoarding or price spikes. He's also met with disaster agencies to assess the damage and coordinate urgent rescue operations. But while search teams continue their efforts, another threat is already looming. A new storm, Typhoon Kalmaegi, the 14th of the season, is moving toward northern Philippines and could strengthen into a super typhoon within days. Experts say the flash floods in Cebu were made worse by unregulated sand and gravel mining, which blocked river flow, and by poorly designed flood control systems. Cebu Governor Pamela Baricuatro said, "We did everything we could, but we never imagined floods of this scale." To make matters worse, the province was still recovering from a 6.9 magnitude earthquake just weeks earlier, an earthquake that had already destroyed thousands of homes and claimed 79 lives. Many who had just moved into temporary shelters found themselves facing another disaster. The storm also brought transportation to a standstill. Over 3,500 passengers and truck drivers were stranded at nearly 100 ports, while nearly 200 domestic flights were canceled due to powerful winds and dangerous seas.